Grab your wellies and get ready for a right old knees up in Dromore West, County Sligo. It's the Homesteaders Hoolie, 2 days of pure crack. Hosted by the one, the only, James Conway, the larger-than-life legend of the James Conway Experience podcast. This isn't just any festival. It's a proper celebration of the good life. Expect jaw-dropping talks from heavy hitters like John Waters and The Long Acre, spilling wisdom that'll make you think, laugh, and maybe even cry. Want skills to make your granny proud? We've got demonstrations galore. Tin smithing that'll spark your inner artisan, horse plowing like it's 1825, beekeeping for the honey lovers, hydroelectricity to light up your eco dreams, and basket making so you can carry all your newfound swagger. And that's just the start. We'll have every soul tapping and singing. So grab your early bird tickets before they are gone, and see you there.
Not all superheroes wears capes. Some wear wellies. Wellies.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the James Conway Experience. We're here with one of Ireland's most fantastic characters, in my opinion, a man that has travelled the length and the breadth of the country, and 1 year in business, Paddy, no more than ourselves. All of us influencers now have gone into business in a different way. We were just talking about this is a little bit easier than being out in the piss and rain with wet gear on doing the building work. Thank you very much for travelling all the way down to Buncroy, Dromore West. Did the video we done with the little pony, did it do anything for sales?
Oh, man, dear, you put me under some serious pressure. Oh, jeez. I'm not telling you a word of lie. That was, oh, jeez, we had to push our shoulder to the wheel that week.
Yeah.
No, it actually done brilliant. I mean, that's why you want to try and get it out there on podcasts and let more and more people know that superfoods exist. Being honest, they work.
Talk us through the product, because it was a friend of mine. Now, I know you probably can't say certain things because you can't be the kind of pharmaceutical man. It'll do this, it'll do that. But I'll just say it. My friend swears by it for arthritis. I travelled up with him to collect a few bottles off your shelf, and my mother suffers with arthritis, and she has said that it has worked absolute wonders for her.
Listen, see on TVs and stuff like that, I will say what I believe, being honest. Like, I was told to not put it on the labels. I was not allowed to put health claims on the labels, and call it immune boosters. And I had it out with them, like, what's the HSE? And I was like, but they're immune boosters. Garlic's immune booster, ginger's immune booster, turmeric's immune boosters. That's what they are. And they're all anti-inflammatories. So, but no, they wouldn't allow me to put health claims on it. But see, whenever I'm on social media and stuff like that, I'll kind of say whatever I want and whatever I believe.
But you're in the lucky position. You have a sight of people at the moment who are just talking about their own personal experience on social media because it's working for them.
That's it. Being honest, if it didn't work, it wouldn't be selling, and you wouldn't be getting the good reviews. And you could only like fake pages, and you can get a couple of people to kind of help your business, and maybe they're not fully telling the truth. This is people I haven't even met, and they're doing videos themselves just to let the next person know. You know what? Try these because they work. Like, there's nothing worse. You go into bed in the evening time, and you're stuffed and you're sore. You get up in the morning, and you go to put on your socks, and it's a struggle. It's stuff and you're sore. And then, lo and behold, one of your neighbours is saying, you know what, I've tried these bottles of Paddy's Powerful Bottle, and I'm getting up in the morning, I have more energy, I have a spring in my step. So that's why I love the feedback, because it makes the next man believe. Everybody's thinking I'm just trying to sell my bottle, but you know what I mean? And say the same thing all the time. But whenever I get the reviews from other people, that's the part that I love. And it's so satisfying.
And you can't buy that.
No, you can't. Like,
No.
I can tell you thousands of stories. I had a woman out in Redcastle. She is on 4 to 6 sulphonine tablets a day. She'd go up the stairs one step at a time. Now, I had plantar fasciitis one time on the bottoms of the feet. I know what it's like to go up the stairs one step at a time. It takes you a long time to get up the stairs, put it that way. And it's sore and it's annoying. There's no better feeling whenever you can skip up the stairs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like your health is your wealth. And you don't realise that until there's something wrong. Like, I was going down the stairs the other day, and I was skipping down them, and I was just thinking, geez, that feels so good to do that, because I remember when I had myself the plantar fasciitis, and it takes us to get older to understand a wee bit more about health. When we're younger, we just think that we're machines, and we don't. Health doesn't mean anything. Health is wealth. That's our. And I'm saying that's old.
Yeah.
But the sad reality is, we're all getting older. You know what I mean? And when you get older, things just don't heal as quick, and they don't. You know what I mean? You need to give something back into your body.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. Like, I see it there as we would be. There's out there in your farm there,
Hmm.
the cars and the tractors. For them to last the distance, or put it this way, the car and the tractor that's serviced
Yes.
the most is going to drive smoother, and it's going to last longer than the one that's not.
Yeah.
And the way I see it is, these superfoods, they help service your body. We've no way of servicing our body.
No.
When we get inflammation, it stores in your body. It doesn't go away. You know what I mean? Never in the history of mankind have we had as much processed foods. And you can see now, never in the history of the place has there been as many sicknesses and illnesses and new names, fibromyalgias, hemochromatosis, and there's new names every whack about. I can't believe that this stuff hasn't been taught to us in school about inflammation. That simple word, inflammation. My God, that's why I based that bottle all around it. Like, how I started myself was my own illnesses, my own arthritis. And arthritis, I got diagnosed with a rare disease for somebody so young. I was about 25 whenever I started getting wild stuff when I was playing football, turning, even when I was in construction site. Like, I'm an ordinary Joe, so on construction site, doing the lazy stuff of going to the delis on a Monday and not and stuff like that, But whenever I got this illness, I went nearly 3 to 4 years undiagnosed, which was absolute torture. See, pain. Oh my God. Anybody out there that's got it will know what I'm talking about. This is horrific. Like, you cannot, I could not put on my sock in the morning unless I stood and bent my knee around like that and put on my sock. And that was the same way I had to tie my boots. I couldn't bend down and tie my boots.
And that was arthritis.
That's ankylosing spondylitis. It's a rare illness.
Right.
And my sister,
Anyone that, if you have something with itis, that is inflammation.
yeah,
So that's a key kind of part of the word.
yeah, that's a bad one. Like, so
Yeah.
it took me a long time till I got diagnosed, and you know what? It was the best thing ever. Like, don't think I'm against hospitals or doctors when I'm talking like us here. I'm not. We need them. There's some things we'll touch on later, but whenever I had to take the injections, it was like a tranquilizer you're giving a horse, and I had to take it every 2 weeks. But it was brilliant for me. It got me back working, but freer in the mornings. But as my sister would say to me, you can't be in this long term. It's wild bad for the heart. And then God rest him, a man down the road, he passed away. And he was on the same injection I was on, Humira. And that kind of scared me up a bit. So we're always doubling and dabbling on anti-inflammatory foods, like a bit of turmeric and a bit of ginger and black pepper, put a wee bit of lime onto it. Like, my mother would have, God rest her, would have kind of brought us up a wee bit like that. We all would have lined up, and we all would have got our spoonful of cod liver oil. And then in the winter's time, then there would have been a pot on of ginger and lime, because if there was 11 of us, if one got the flu, the whole house was waving through it. So it was like an immune booster. So our family was brought up in believing in a bit of natural remedies, immune boosters and stuff. And then I went away to America and Scotland, away to work and all the rest. But my sister, she would have made me a bit of tonic and says, try this. It's an anti-inflammatory drink. That's whenever I realised that whenever I was out trying to concrete in the morning, I could reach over as far as here. The next thing then I was...
It was working.
It was working. And then I got hooked. Then. That's whenever I really got onto it and started making more for myself. And listen, doubled and dabbled and changed a bit and added a bit, learned a bit of podcast. And next thing then, found a bottle in, we believed it worked, And it was working for me, and I was giving it to people around home. uncles, relatives, friends, etc. And next thing then, the mic and defective blocks kicked off. My house started crumbling. The cracks started appearing, and then it was like all the bottles was put in the back foot
Yes.
because there's a big campaign for huts we can touch on later. And then I went back to my injections and our coxia tablets. They're an anti-inflammatory painkiller as well. And I was just eating them like Smarties, and that's what I had to do to get through the day.
So just when you had nearly got free of it, along comes this new campaign, and you're back again to the pharmacy end of it. As
Exactly. You see, that's the sad reality. Like, to the ordinary person watching us here, everybody will go through the wee phase of, right, we'll buy in the turmeric, we'll buy in the ginger, we'll buy in all the materials out of the supermarket, and next thing then you'll chop it up and you'll boil it and you'll go through a wee process, and the kitchen's died and the cups, everything's died of turmeric, and then you don't do it again. But this is the best thing about it is, whenever I decided to make it, I just thought, like, you know what? The amount of people would just love to just open the fridge, grab a bottle, give it a shake. Like, all joking aside, there's all you have to do. You just give it a shake. I haven't got mine this morning. And give it a damn good shake. When it's a wee bit fuller, it's hard to shake. You just give it a shake. And next thing then, reach into the fridge. And you know that you've got...
Pass it around.
But you know then you've got goodness.
Can I have a taste?
Well, you can start one of them. You've got the Christmas Eve one there.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah, darn.
So,
I've had
tell
mine.
us what's in it, then.
I've had mine this morning. I don't want to overdose, so I don't.
So my scenario was, straight away you started the day off on a good foot because you've got anti-inflammatory foods in you. See, if you cheat and you go to a deli, listen, we're not all perfect. We've all got our bad habits. There's so much temptation out there now. It's unbelievable. Like, you're on a cold day and you're going to any kind of a shop at all, it's got a nice hot deli.
Yeah.
It's hard to work past it.
Jesus, right.
You know what I mean?
Especially when you're working outside.
Exactly.
A bit of hot food is a nice thing.
Oh, God, it is, surely to God. But, like, at the same time, call a spade a spade. It's not good for you.
No.
You know what I mean? You keep taking, so you have to kind of have some kind of plan B to help the body. And this is unbelievable. You've got the folk over in India that's been making this stuff for centuries. It's not a game changer. It's been proven for centuries. They've been very little doctors and very little tablets over in India, and they're using this as food as your medicine.
Well, do you remember that comedian when he was down here, Darren? Darren's taking a swig of that now.
I am actually, yeah.
It's nice stuff.
It's actually very good stuff. What is the Demacus earth?
The Demacus,
Yeah.
that is a parasite killer.
Oh!
Well, there we go.
We have
that's a hot topic at the minute.
Yeah,
man.
we have a mate fully on. He reckons the vast majority of disease, he says, is parasite derived.
Imagine that. It's unbelievable. It really is. Like, at the same time, we could go to a supermarket there now and you could get a steak medium. Most people really like it medium to well, maybe. But at the same time, there's so much stuff that's got parasites in it that's left over, and then it stays there and it's in your body, and then it's doing harm, and then you're getting, the winter comes and you have more flus and you have more infections and stuff like that. At time, it's a sort of earth.
Well, I'll tell you a good one, Paddy, and I was thinking about it. This cracker roasting, that's only a modern way of cooking. Like, it was a rarity long ago.
Oh.
It took an awful lot of effort to roast something, do you know?
100%.
Most food was boiled. And the reason for the boiling was the parasite. It was to try and kill off the parasite with the boiling.
Yeah.
Like, if you think of the steak, fair enough, medium rare or that. But what you've done is you've fried the outsides of it.
Uh-huh.
But you're still taking the kind of raw essence that's in the middle of it.
Well, 100%.
The heat hasn't hit it.
100%.
See, there's a side of, like, if you think during the day as well, like a simple thing, any man can say he washes his hands enough. Nobody.
No.
If you're on a farm or anything like that, you are consuming parasites for the day. Do you know?
100%. You come there, you throw a bit of water over it and you give it a wee squiggle. You haven't even put soap on it, maybe in a warm water. Like,
but when I was young as well, it wasn't unusual to
take a warmer.
That was not an unusual thing.
No.
You never hear of anyone getting dewormer in the pharmacy for the kids or for the family or anything like that.
No.
Never.
And I do laugh at this concept. Because it's kind of natural to bring a bit in and then flush it out. That's how you build an immune system. if you get me.
100%.
But what's happened now is they don't flush anything out and they go around the house spraying with an antibacterial everywhere. So there's no immunity built up, but you're still getting them and you're not flushing them out.
No, I listen, I believe it as well. The immune systems, now, there's far too many jabs and injections and all the rest going about now. Like, you get somebody out around a farm and you get a young child out around the muck and even licking a stone and all this old kind of carry on that some people would think is revolting. That's boosting your immune system when they're younger. You know what I mean? See, if you're letting some child and wrapping them in cotton wool and not letting them out and getting in the middle of the dirt and all the rest, their immune system's not. You need to build it up through the years, not build it up with injections. Like,
Well, I had a man nearly got sick. We were clipping sheep one day and I just brought my cup over to know where the cattle was drinking. And I took it and I drank it. He says, "Oh, Lord God," he says, "you'll be dead before tomorrow." I said, I guarantee I won't. I said,
Oh.
Because everywhere I go, I do take a little bit there. Yeah, it's one of those. I think you're on to something massively big. Now, we had a conversation. I'm going to give out to you here, Paddy, because I was up in Paddy's place and I said, "You need a website." So you do. You're still having the website.
I
Go
couldn't
and
make. See, if I couldn't do a website, I see my staff and they would go off their head if I opened up a click and collect. No, we need to change premises to we've outgrown the premises we're in, and that's just been honest. We're looking to move premises and make it bigger, but listen, I know it's massive potential. There's
Oh, it's
no
huge.
two ways about it. Like
How many is in the operation, Paddy?
could be good. There's at least 6 of us, and
Wow. Yeah.
and I have to work. I do this kind of this prepping and stuff for Sundays. There's always something to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You seem to be a busy man anyway.
Well,
I
it's
could've-
outrageous. So you don't have a minute to piss during the fucking day. Anytime you ring him, you might get him. It could be a voice message.
Morning
you know,
to
the-
night.
Yeah, no, it's been mad. I said no. What it is, we just started in a kind of a smaller way and a good enough way of going because we believed in it. But it's just kicked off to a serious different level. Like, but honest, we couldn't take on another shop. Like, could not take on another shop. But shop's phoning and you feel bad. And one guy was actually getting thick with me and was saying like, "What kind of business are you running? I'm looking to take on your bottles on the shop and you're telling me you can't get them to me." Not really, so I felt bad myself. But
Well,
there's only so much you can do.
we are having a conversation at the moment. Like, I don't mind talking about it. You're a year ago and we're a year ago.
Yeah.
Me and Darren are talking to a few people at the moment because we've kind of reached the nexus of, I think, where we can do it. So
Yeah.
we need a bit of help on board now. You're on about relocating. Like, would it strike on you? You might need to relocate to a central part to distribute from that. Because where you are, it's fantastic for the Donegal Derry area.
Yeah.
You know. But like, I could see that in every Tesco's in the country if you...
You wouldn't consider outsourcing it to
Yeah.
a manufacturer, no?
Well, no, listen, see if somebody came to me and came
Yeah.
up with some kind of plan, but I haven't even the time to go around and look for somebody. The
Yeah.
minute all I'm trying to do is keep bottles in the shop.
Yeah.
And you like to be in control and know what's going into it.
Aye,
And make
like-
sure, like, it,
I do like being controlled because
Yeah.
like there was one shop here to try to put the bottles up at like 15 sterling. And like
Yeah.
they were making more out of the bottles than I was making out of the bottles. You know, I'm making a pound out of the bottles, all right, but there's a fine line. Like the amount of money's worth and goodness goes onto the bottles. It'll blow your mind. Like it's $17.50 a kilo of turmeric in a supermarket. So an ordinary homeowner couldn't go out and make that bottle for €12. I don't believe. It can't be done.
Well, I'll tell
Unless
you...
you go, no, but sorry, unless you went to the wholesalers. I can go to foil fruits
Yeah.
and I can go to them. So you're kind of cutting out the middleman of the supermarkets, and that's why you can put it onto that. But at the same time, you do like to be in control because you don't want the shops to just put on a kind of price on it. And anybody then thinks that money's going to stay into my pocket. Definitely not. So that's why I pulled it out of 2 shops because they were charging too expensive for it.
Well, something that dawned on me when I was travelling down the road with other men, because, once that bottle is opened, you have a set time frame for consuming it. Do you know?
Not really. We just put that on the bottle to kind of, it's like a wee kind of warning. Once the bottle lasts up to 3 weeks, but once opened, you've got like 7 to 10 days to taking it. And that means that you'll continue to take it. You know what I mean? You'll pour a little, if you're wondering, you'll pour a little bit onto a cup, like up until like a quarter of a cup full. And then you'll you'll stick to the process because it's written on it, finished in 7 to 10 days. But see if you're away for 3 or 4 days, the bottles, you don't have to, you can still drink a bottle. Like.
Well, I think you need to get onto your research and development end, because what I was thinking on the ways down is that should be in a powder too.
Well, I don't believe in the powder as much as you do. Like I've got a top of the range nutritionist, and I was on the Zoom call yesterday morning about a couple of different issues, and I just wouldn't be a powder believer. Being honest, everything's on there straight from the roots, straight from fresh and coming from where they come. Why would you be for powder?
Because for shipping.
All right.
You see, shipping this now is going to probably be an Irish, centric operation. You might get into the UK all right from a distribution centre in Ireland, but if you were to do it in bottle form, you'd have to have a bottling plant and all that in the other country just for the time frame and all that.
Yeah. Well,
the cost to turn it into a powder as well, it's costly.
I don't know. I'm trying my best here to figure out to make Paddy a fucking billionaire, like, I just think it's a very, very good product, and it's about bringing it to an international market.
There's no real preservative in it. It's actually all natural preservatives.
Yeah, it's all unfiltered water and everything. Like, it's all filtered water. You see, my problem is I'm around the 46s. Like, I don't care about being this big if you're going mad big. Fair enough, of young family coming up and you want to see them doing well. But I freaking want to enjoy my life. I'm going, for the last 6 years, between making Defective blocks, it's been 90 mile an hour for nearly 4.5 to 5 years. Then it was these bottles. Moved on straight after that because I decided that I was running out of all my money was put onto the house to get the house refixed because there's a massive shortfall in the government scheme. So I was having to go back down to Dublin, and then I decided, you know what? I'm gonna try and put these bottles out to market, because I was going back making them then after the Micah and Defective blocks was kind of done. I was back making them for myself because more time and I wanted to get off the injections. So it's been full tilt, full relentless. I don't want to go full relentless to him 55, 65 the whole time. I'd love to get away to holidays.
But I think that's where delegation comes into it, because at the moment you're doing everything. You're doing the marketing, you're doing the distribution, you're taking the calls, you're getting it out. Like when you have there's people around the world who have had products to kill people, who have, said they've not worried where you're worrying, geez, I want a holiday and all this. They've gone, I know it's killing them, but fuck it, I'm going to market the fuck out of it. Whereas you have something that's really good for people, and there's so many people around the country who'd love probably to help you from a business sense and be like, you could get that out.
Well, that's it. Like, I'm sure it'll evolve. Whenever the next premises changes, I'm sure you'll stick on them. There'll be a good manager and there'll be a good person. But I just don't want to be one of these people that I'm just driven, right, get it all the shops in Ireland and get it over into England. I am quite happy.
What if man in suit with briefcase in hand came, Paddy, and said, Paddy, it's a fantastic product, and I want to get it into every shop in the land. Would that be something you'd be open to?
100%. I'd be open to hearing something. Like, I watch Away at Dragon's Den. I haven't seen anybody going up.
Would you go for it?
I would go into it for the crack, but at the same time, I don't think.
God, I think you'd get on fierce well.
Aye.
I really
Well,
do.
you see, they could tie you in knots too, all the figures and all the rest. I'm just not ready to go into it yet. But
that's when you bring Shirley, the accountant, with you, Shirley, take it from there, Shirley. I said, you shake the bottle when she's at it.
Well, that's a good enough point too. Aye. Yeah.
I think. Look, I've loved since I was up with Demo. I've just loved the concept of it. I loved going up there, and there you were scrubbing your kitchen to make sure it was right for the next day. And
that must have been about 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Oh, the man doesn't stop at all,
But you know what I love about the bottle as well? Like, there's a 3-pronged attack in the bottle. Like, beetroot is second only to water that everybody should be taking. It's just the benefits of it. It boosts your athletic performances. It helps your stamina. It helps your blood circulation. So for the sports people and the athletes out there, like Gaelic players, etc., rugby players, anything from runners, people doing marathons, that there is what they should be drinking before races, because it opens up your lungs, so you're not waiting on the second one when you're halfway through it. And that's the beetroot. That's for the sports people. Then for people with arthritis, you've got the turmerics and the gingers and the anti-inflammatories and etc. And you have all that. Then you've got, on the winter, you've got the gingers, the diatomasaurus, and that's all helping kill the parasites and helping boost your immune system, because when we're getting older, our metabolism is not the same. You know what I mean? It's just definitely not. So there's no two ways about it. You need to boost your immune system.
And beetroot on its own is actually not that nice, whereas when you mix it in with a few other bits like that, you could drink that.
That's what you see. It was kind of made. Listen, there's other ones out in the market, etc., and everybody to their own. Like it's the same as Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Everybody's blah blah blah. But the way we would have done it, my sister would have says, listen, no matter how good it is, if I can't drink it, I'm not going to take it. So it's kind of based around that. Like there was good crack in the house. There's people in blindfolds and there's wee testers and the whole shebang and mixes, and this went on for a long time, years, to try and get it, and then just settle for it. Then come here, see if somebody like I learned. I went out, hooked a wee thing in the back of the Jeep, and went out on all wee fairs and give out free samples, talked about it, the whole shebang. The reviews I see when they throw it back, it's hilarious. Like you could get one person, he's like, "Jeez, that's dead on." Yeah. One person, he's like, "I could get used to it." Like, and you could get another person, they're like, "Oh, Jesus." Yeah. But see if you didn't like the taste of it, make it work for you. Like all the hard work's done, right? It's in there in a glass bottle. If you want to drop on 2 cloves, straight away you've changed the taste of it, and cloves are still good for you. Put on a bit of pineapple. Pineapple's an anti-inflammatory. That's good for you. Honey, whatever makes it work for you. But as long as you've eliminated all the buying in of turmeric, gingers, garlic, etc., all the boiling, all the sieving, all the cutting, all the mess, like for 12 or 13 or 14 euros, like a burger and chip and a takeaway now, a meal, a chicken fillet burger meal now costs more than a bottle, and it's gone in 5 minutes. Yeah, that bottle lasts you 7 to 10 days.
Yeah, and it's done no good for you. Yeah. Will you just check my level there, because I got an awful tangy. Cool. Yeah. What's it called? I love it as a product. Tell me a little bit, Paddy, because you came to my attention, especially through the mic thing. You done massive work that time. So for the listener out there that isn't aware, Donegal, there is a bit now down in Sligo, Leitrim, them counties as well.
Yeah, it's creeping on there down to here.
What happened?
Oh God, what happened? It's just the saddest thing ever in my life. Simple as this. I'm just your typical Irishman that went across water to get enough money to build their dream home. And every man's home is their castle. And after finally getting home, and my daughter moved on, when she came out of hospital, when we moved on to it, there was whimpers of this mica at the time. I didn't know too much about it because it's always on the go. It's catching a plane over to England or over to Scotland, and you're only home for the weekends, stay with the house. Next thing then, this crack started appearing in the house.
And now a word from our sponsors.
You're probably always wondering what these bottles are all about. I'll give you a wee heads up. Folks, what we're going to talk about now is beetroot. Now, I've based my bottles around beetroot, and the benefits of the beetroot is it boosts athletic performances, and stroke prevention, and that's what it does, massively helps benefit the heart. It's a natural immune booster. Listen, I would love to put a health claim in the bottle and say natural immune booster. We're not allowed to, but the bottom line is, when by any 4 weeks, they're not a 1 bottle wonder bottle, you'll not do it overnight. So try it for 4 weeks, it'll cost you no more than about 48 euros. What's not to like about that?
When the storm hits and the power goes out, you shouldn't be left stuck. The handcrafted Donnelly rocket stove gives you reliable cooking anywhere, anytime. Using just small bits of wood, it's efficient, eco-friendly, and built to last. Cook outdoors with confidence, whether it's for emergencies, camping, or everyday use. Order yours today at donnellystoves.com and use code CONWAYEXP for €10 off your order.
And he thought it was settlement cracks. And the next minute then, they were chipping away and the cornerstone started to crack and the blocks were like Weetabix. And you're like, what? That was just the worst time. Well, it was just absolutely pathetic. So it was what actually was going on. Like there was a crowd out there before and the campaigners and the Mike Action Group and Anne Owens. She would have met like us here around the kitchen table. The first people would have been involved, people way before me. And they would have realised that there was cracks and that there was this mica and etc. And they sent down to government emails after emails around 2017 to Leo Verker and says, listen, there's a big problem up here. There's houses crumbling. There's cracks and these are being sent away for testing and there's just something's not right. And it's all coming from a local quarry Castres in Buncrana. And they never stopped it. They never even inquired about it. They never even closed it down to see what's going on. You know the worst thing they done? They actually built big, massive, used taxpayers' money to build big, massive tax building in Carndonal, cost over millions of pounds. That building's riddled with it. All they had to do was just stop it, address the situation before it got out of control. It was never addressed, and it did get out of control because after it, they just put out waves and waves and more stuff at the Celtic Tiger. It was out the door. Everything was just going out the door. And there's more houses was going on until my father, my mother, God rest her, my sister, my father, after my father had passed away, the three of them within 4.5 years. And I was driving down from the Corpoust and I looked over onto the left and I seen the Castres lorry putting concrete and blocks into another council estate. Now, this is the first council estate 15 years previous. I was in one of them council houses until I used it as a stepping stone to build my own house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in that council house, and that council house is cracked and riddled and ready to fall down. The plugs couldn't even go on. They were tripping. There was mould in the houses because there was that much cracks and dampness getting into them. And I was just thinking, oh my God, like, when is this ever going to stop? How are they still getting their pockets lined? How are they still functioning? How are they still open and allowed to the public? Now, there's so many big complaints that's been put onto Donegal County Council. Nothing was done about it. The council were making their own workers use the material out in concrete and footpaths out along the road. Like, how degrading was that? You had to do a job for the council. Nobody would listen. Why are they still open? Look at the harm it's doing. Their blocks are not fit for purpose. Like, when the Fullerton Dam was done up in Annishone years ago, the Germans came over to make it. They went to that quarry and tested everything in the quarry to see what they'd use out of it. They were way ahead of Ireland. The Germans would not use one stone out of that quarry. They reblasted out in alleys and made their own quarry, their own stone. So, like, when was a penny going to drop with people? Like, there were so many signs and nobody heeded it. So I don't know if it was the anger in me of everything was going on. My house was falling down. Just lost my mother and father and my sister. These are still getting their pockets lined. And there's a lorry came up alongside my road one day. My own neighbours knew the situation of my house has been tossed down. Next door neighbour's house has been talked down. Just because they're €50 a metre cheaper than anybody else, I thought that there was no more. I couldn't believe it. They're going up this road to concrete the street beside me, and I just snapped. It was like, as people know morals, like, we're losing 2 houses here, and because you're getting a €50 cheaper, you're going to use them right in front of my face. I was disgusted, and I just went out and I blocked the lorry. The next concrete lorry was coming up, and he wanted to offload, and I said, get the fuck back to Buncrana. You're not coming up this road no more. And then it was after that, it was right. You could see social media just go bang, boom, and you realise how many other people was affected out there. And then it was like, right, what's next? And then it was my campaign and my anger was taken out at the manufacturers that made it. So I went now on a hunt against them, and anybody that was going to use them, I was going to expose them on social media and expose the buildings that they've done. So I went around the buildings that they've done that was cracked and destroyed. and showed them Bruncrana's destroyed, Cairndonna's destroyed, Mallon's destroyed. Look at the school. Look at Bruncrana's swimming pool. And next thing then I went out around following them. How are you lining these people's pockets? They've no remorse. They don't care. And next thing then they went to. There was a lorry going onto another site in Cairndonna, and we went down and we blocked that site in Cairndonna. Then it hit the papers, and then there was a big crowd gathered that day. And then we just realised we just had to keep going, and we done a protest up in Bruncrana against the actual quarry. And a big crowd turned up. Then more and more people came into it then and was helping. Like Michael Doherty would have been involved in the Mike Action Group, and loads of names. There's Debbie McCoy over in America. You've Paul Dunlop. I hope I don't forget anybody's names. It's not about names now. It's just there's so many people. Lisa Doherty would have been helping the Facebook page. Like, without my wife and my family to believe in me to kind of push it, I was consumed every day after work. The phone was going to nearly 12, 1 o'clock at 2 o'clock in the morning. You're finding out more stuff about IS 465. It's not for purpose stuff I didn't know nothing about, but I had to learn fast. Then you realise then about what was our councillors doing when all this was going on. Some of them's in Bruncrana. They live in Bruncrana. How is the quarry not closed? So, and why is the government not doing anything about it? Why is insurance companies not doing anything about it? So when you realise then that all them options was off the table because insurance companies nothing do, because there's a standard out there. And the Donegal County Council, I think they were market surveillance in 2013. So it was their job to make sure everything was done right. Like, in my bottles here, right, I could not put a health label on the bottles. But I had the health crowd out with me and give them their dues. They were hard on me, but they were fair. Like I said, sick of aches and pains, you couldn't put this on, and I wanted this on, and we had our disagreements, and we argued back and forth. But if the blocks, quarries, industries that building our houses had half the standards that I had to go through.
Aye, but you've never given out about the standards. That's what I like about you. Like, even in your statement there, you had it out with them, they says this, you said that. But you never give out the fact they were there.
No.
Do you know, and I've heard that with yourself now several times, is you haven't given out about the standards being applied.
No, well, standards should be there for a reason. Like they want to make sure that the bottle's good. I don't like it that I'm not allowed to put a health claim on it, right?
Yeah.
But there's a legislation there, and I kind of seemingly understand it for a wee bit, because say if the ginger came in from China and it's in good season, but say if it came in from somewhere else and it's off season and it's not as powerful, not as good, so you can't just automatically think of ginger's good.
Yeah.
So there's probably a standard there for a reason. I don't fully get it because they're immune boosters, but I believe in having standards for it. But to build a house and have no standards, no regulations.
Wait, do you remember, was there a day in Dublin, and just going back in my own recollection, I think you crumbled a block in front of, was it government
outside the
building?
door? Outside the door.
That, for me, I think, has to go down as a turning point. It became undeniable for them.
Aye.
Like, I remember that was sent to me 7 or 8 times that day, and I was sort of familiar. I says, that's the one.
Yeah, I think
it
so
was
too.
Undeniable.
I was just down on a building site working down in Dublin one day, and I actually was building a wee manhole for electric, and I seen the block. I could not believe the strength of the blocks in Dublin.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you hear it. It was like you could hear the solidness of it, and then that's when the penny dropped. That's how I'm going to use this. Look at this block compared to our block. Jesus, how can we not make something as simple as blocks in this day and age and make good ones? So yeah, then whenever we done that, we done that down in Dublin. And listen, come here. It got national attention. Like the government, they control the mainstream TV. Like, it's absolutely shocking. I'm only an ordinary person. And believing that when I watched an RTE is right and gospel, and when I left the newspaper, I'm going to believe what I'm reading and all the rest. I cannot believe, and I'll tell you this out straight, what happened to me when the making Defective blocks was absolutely shocking. Like Michael Doherty and myself, and Owens, etc. Like, we were up until a Sunday making out the amendments of what, when the government proposing for a scheme on what the amendments and the pre-legislating scrutiny, what was wrong with it. You know what I mean? Points. And we had over 80, right? So whenever we went down to Dublin, and sorry, Michael Doherty was down, and I think it was one of the lowest points in his time, because they're up in the gallery, and they could just see the way they voted. Even one of our own TDs, Fianna Fáil's, Charlie McConville, which one he is?
Fianna Fáil.
Fianna Fáil. To turn your back on the people, and their lowest ebb. Now, this is a humanitarian crisis. There's no point in getting it wrong. Don't be thinking I'm going out against Fianna Fáil or going out against Fine Gael or Charlie McConway or not. This is just, right, bottom line, you're underrepresented people. This is a humanitarian crisis. There's people committing suicides over this. There's families breaking up. There's children involved in this. There's elderly people in this that on the last rollout of their lives are supposed to enjoy it, and they're not enjoying it. It's just wrong. The simple word is wrong, and it's so maddening. And what happened up on that gallery and the amendments was a sad day for Michael Doherty. Whenever they just swiped it out. But what they done in the national media, an editor phoned me up the next day and said to me, Paddy, I'm well sorry to tell you this. He says, but they were pulled on, and I have no bother saying it. Dara O'Brien was there. I don't care if there's any consequences over it. The facts, the facts. All that media was pulled on. And they were telling if any of them ever mentioned the pre-legislating scrutiny or the amendments on their papers, that they wouldn't be they wouldn't be allowed to sit in the next government interviews. They completely wiped it off the face of it. Was not allowed to be talked about. And it was as if it never happened. The only people knew it was going on was the people on the 100% redress page in the Facebook and us kind of in Donegal. But like, can you imagine whenever the government's trying to portray that they're bringing out this big brilliant scheme, a 2.5 billion scheme, and they're trying to portray to the rest of the country that, oh, we're saving all them people in Donegal and it's fixed. But really and truly, whenever you read through the devil in the detail, as Michael Carr from Roscommon used to always say to me, who is a brilliant help to me all along the place, it's just the devil in the detail, as it says, was there was so much devil in the detail. There's so much wrong. There's no money up front. There's oh Jesus, there's so much, like the banks, the government won't get involved in the banks. So like if the husband and wife decided to move to Australia to go and see their children because everybody's having to leave this country anyways, they couldn't sell their house because the house is not mortgageable, it's not sellable, it's not shareable, because it's still got making defective blocks inside it. The government's trying to give you an outer leaf. They're trying to tell some people you're not allowed on the scheme now because if your house isn't more or less falling down. So everybody's trapped. It's a mess of a scheme. Even the banks know it. Like I've been involved in the banking insurance group, and I'm talking to one of the boys lately, and he turned around and says that even the banks and the insurance knows that IS 465 is not fit for purpose and needs changed, and the government need to change the scheme and all the rest. But why people like myself and Michael Doherty, who would have spent so much time writing out the people's document. You know, the people's document was what the people want and what the people need. And we had a big, massive thing, and everybody was allowed to put on their input, and everybody put on their input. Like, if any wee things was missing, it would have been added. So there was a people's document there. People's document's not listened to. And whenever the same government go back in again, I was like, how could I still get involved and be in this campaign and fighting the same people? Like, in the next thing, then they just pull Dara O'Brien away from Minister of Housing. They add on a new Minister of Housing. Every 4 years, then if somebody else says, oh, well, sure, I'm just getting new to this job. Like, they won't let nobody stay in the same job. If they're only good at their job in the first place,
Move them on.
they would still be there as the Minister of Housing all the time. But so they just keep moving them over to a different spot. So then somebody else can say, oh, sorry, I've inherited this. The crazy thing about it is in this making effective block scheme, and it's sad enough to say it's designed for failure. Because as chatting to Michael Doherty, it was designed that they would keep a trickle of enough people going through to keep it fixed, but to slow down the money. They didn't want it all just to let everybody go out and get their houses fixed.
I was up your neck of the woods one time with a block clearer who walked off a job. He bolstered blocks. It was on a once-off house, and he was in for another gang.
Oh, I would well
And
believe
he
it.
just walked. He's a Sligo man.
Oh, I would well believe it.
Himself and himself were making halves, do you know?
Uh-huh.
Ah, he says, fuck
Oh,
this.
Jesus. Come here, like, you can hear me and people there, like, there's people out there that was all kind of trying to turn against me or kind of saying, oh, sure, he's Sinn Féin, and oh, he's this and that and on. I was nobody. I don't care if independents could promise me 100% redress, I would go for them. But anybody, but Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, this is family homes you're talking about here. Like, this is not any other reason. This is your bread and butter. This is children, grannies, mothers, families, homes that you're supposed to feel safe on. I've seen my daughter not been fit to sleep in her own room and coming on to sleep in my room. That room at winter time living in one of them houses. That's an absolute nightmare. You wouldn't believe it. I'm about 45. I went up onto my attic to check to see the noise was just mental one night. See where the steel girders run straight across the roofs? There's a line across there. I could put my hand straight on there. When the one was getting up, she would vibrate up and down. So bad enough for me, for an elderly person staying in one of them, you don't know if you're going to make it to the morning. And as we speak today, we've 4 councillors got on as councillors over this at council level. But being honest, there's a group there called a Defective Blocks group and the council.
Yeah.
And I would be disappointed at the minute of what's happening. There's no maintenance team to go out and prevent a tragedy, even now. Do you know what I mean? And there's some houses out there, there's chimneys. I pushed one down with my feet one time. You know what I mean? I've seen worse chimneys out there. We have known for years that there's a tragedy ready to happen. And there's not even a maintenance team gathered up to go out and sort things out. There's no emergency accommodation.
It's frightening, really.
No, it really is.
It really is frightening.
Aye, it really
You know,
is.
and like, you can imagine you're putting, like, when you buy your house, it's like the biggest investment you ever fucking make. And to actually watch it crumble away around you.
Yeah.
And you're still paying off your mortgage.
Oh, man.
And then the government turning their back. Do you know? I mean,
No, and they don't care. They don't care. It's like they're voted on to represent people, and they actually don't care.
Well, you see, the truth of the matter is, if they took that serious, what they would have done was structural engineer out. Right, guys, there's yellow tape. You do not go into that fucking thing. That could fall at any moment.
Yeah.
We're sticking in a base out the back. We're getting on to your man, Donegal, one of them big red barns or something. That's your temporary accommodation. And we're going to rebuild this. If they were taking it serious, that's what happened.
100%. There's many people wanted to build side by side. They build a house beside it, they toss that and leave it there. Because there's people out there with autistic children. There's people out there with special needs. There's different types of circumstances. And they won't address none of them. We've had given so many options. You had let people downsize the house if they were going to be left with a big mortgage. They couldn't get the money. You can't fix your house. And people as elderly, if you've no income, you're not getting... No banks or credit unions giving you any money. So there's so many different situations. But you know what? See, being honest, every day we woken up was a fight. They brought nothing to the table.
How much would 100% redress have cost?
100% redress. Listen, 100% redress. If it was a government-led scheme, and just say, for instance, there's a piece of the pie, and just say a builder was coming in and he was getting, say, €2 a block.
Yeah.
And he was getting no more than €2 a block.
Yeah.
And say the electrician was getting so much per square metre and he got stuck to too much a square metre. The government will actually save money. At the minute, it's just threw out like a big bush out there. So we've got less and less contractors. So if a contractor got on about 6 houses and they took on another one, they'll probably add a wee bit extra on it. You know what I mean? Because it's on demand and they can put out the figure and make it work. Listen, I'm not going fully against the contractors because I know the scheme is it's set up in a bit of a mess as normal. They're worried that they don't get this last payment because it actually goes to a homeowner. Now, nearly every homeowner is going to you're going to know as you're giving it, but they've got the fear factor there. You know what I mean? There's a wee grey area there that they're worried about. So it's just a mess unless it's a government-led scheme and people come in and what would you call it? They tender.
Well, you see, my problem with it, not with the issue you're on about, Paddy, but is at the time, I was listening very closely to government, and their predominant worry was the cost of this scheme. Oh, we don't know. Oh, we don't know what cost this could run into, do you know? And then all of a sudden, and I have nothing against people travelling or that, but every week there was tens of thousands of people arriving, and I had no difficulty putting them up.
No difficulty putting them up at
And
all.
I'll be truthful about it. Gone past the racist thing at this stage. Ireland is no longer a great country for an Irishman.
No.
If you're willing to have Irish kids, Irish families, and say, sure, fair enough, do you know, the house is falling around them, but sure, we couldn't be putting them up in a hotel so they'd be safe. But sure, if you make your way from Afghanistan, we'll put you up in a hotel. Why wouldn't we?
Yeah. Listen,
Do you know, and this is the crux of the issue. This is the bit that nobody wants talking about, is there's money being thrown at projects that makes its way back into politicians' hands.
oh, Jesus.
But the project that's just, right, Johnny the electrician and Jimmy the block-layer, and they'll get a few pounds for it, but there's probably no way of getting it back to me, though. That's no good to me.
That's no good to them. That's no good to them. Like, geez, we've seen some of the messes that's been made at government level. Like, geez, sure, we all know about the bike shelter or the bike.
Oh, the hospital?
Yeah, that
bike
came to
hospital.
my head as well.
Yeah,
when you were on
you know what I
about
mean?
it, yeah,
Then
yeah.
you've got
the hospital.
then you've
yeah.
got the children's hospital, and then this is just like rotten off. Like they done some. Where do you start and where do you stop?
Well, there's a job. She's just on the media there this morning. There's another one. It's a set of steps and a wall in South Dublin that cost $750,000.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I tell you one thing: whoever the stonemason was, he'll be in St. Moritz this fucking winter, so he
Yeah,
will, because he'll have dodged Ireland very quickly.
You
so
can be
he
sure
will.
there's a good few people kind of between him and the Czech as well. That got
Oh,
that sorted, you know.
100%.
Yeah, because like when you're talking about the like people, honest, hardworking taxpayers, people that built their family homes, and to see a party there turning your back, and that's the Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, and all they do, if it's a humanitarian crisis, go over to Europe and look for aid if you think you haven't got it. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think that's the issue. There are issues, but they've no standards. This is a big, massive problem. Like whenever I rebuilt my house, there's still no clerk of works comes out and inspects your work. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
That is just very simple. As like in the north of Ireland, you couldn't build nothing. There'll be a clerk of works. You couldn't put on a foundation and just pour it without anybody being there. So it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? If nobody's going to be there and people's going to flog it onto somebody else, they may put on 6 inches of concrete, just enough to skim over it. But the proper amount of concrete needs to go into it. Say you're 12 inches with your 6 mil bar of steel. It needs to be done right. And if somebody knows there's nobody coming out, why are they going to do it right?
I can't understand, though, how banks isn't appointing a structural engineer or that.
I thought they do though. If do they not?
I don't know. I can't.
Yeah.
Like, did the bank ever send out a man when you were building your house? No.
No, they didn't. No, they don't. Hey, listen, the sad reality is, I was talking to a man up in Moncrana the other day, and a bank passed them off on a loan to buy a house
With
that's
Mike
got
in it.
defective blocks. Like, you couldn't write this.
Yeah.
There's some things going on. Like, but sure, they don't. It's not. They don't know it's got it. Like, you don't have to have a report. Like anybody coming back from Australia now, or somebody that didn't know about it down in the country or something, decided to move to Donegal, could see this house on the market. You know what? I'll buy that house.
But on that point, though, right? Your man got a loan passed to buy a house with defective blocks. That's because the bank couldn't give a living fuck if that falls around you. You have the loan.
You have the loan,
and you're paying it back.
You're paying it back, and if you don't like to pay it back, and you try and fight them, which I did, which I done, because I have a second house, and one of the girls was in, and she done all her emails and sent all her emails to the banks, the ombudsman, the whole shebang, and they would not hear tell of her for over 2 years. So I says, I'm going to try mine a different tactic. I'm going to stop paying my mortgage, and I did stop paying my mortgage in my second house. And the next thing they went on for better negotiations. I thought we were getting into negotiations here. Why would I pay you off all the money that you owe, and at the end of the mortgage, I'm not allowed in the scheme because the scheme won't allow me to have a second house, so I can't get it fixed on the scheme. So I'm lost in that house, and I'm going to be left with rubble. But you got all your money back. But at the same time, you allowed me to take this house. You seen all the paperwork, all whatever had to be done. Anyways, He just says no. They just passed on off to a vulture fund. And so the vulture funds from America, they don't care. They don't give none. And so there's nobody cares. You'll not beat the banks.
No, and you see, this is the worrying thing for me, and we will finish up the first while. 10 minutes? That's fine. We'll go to the Patreon then after that. The worrying thing for me is we're heading into a very downward trend around the country. It's very easy to witness. Despite what the government is saying, a lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of builders I'm speaking to, things is winding back. I'd be familiar with a couple of plant hire boys. It's slowed down.
Massive slowdown.
Aye. And you won't beat the banks, as you said. And we seen them poor men in Roscommon that tried to get rid of a crowd 13 years apiece. I'll tell you one thing, we're heading into a very dark period unless something changes rapidly. So yeah,
there's a big period out there, and if it's I totally understand where you're coming from. It's a sad handling, because if there's a recession in this country, again, we're in a bad mess.
Well, we're coming on near 20 year from what they said was the last big one, which was 08 or that, and that dragged on for a long time in Ireland. And I'll be truthful about it. I don't think usually they happen every 10 years or that. If they go near 20 years, you're kind of overdue for it at that stage. So,
well, no, Jesus, hopefully not.
You're a man of hope, Paddy. So, Paddy, thanks very much for travelling down to us today. We're going to head to the Patreon section. Thank you to everyone who subscribes on Patreon and Spotify, and you for watching. We're going to get into a little bit more nitty-gritty with the Micah Defective blocks, I think, because there's a few things that would probably get your shadow banned on YouTube, but we'll be able to discuss them in the Patreon.
Yeah, we'll get into that, and we'll get into other things as well. And a lot of these here is just kind of about some of the things about doctors, about high blood pressure, and being in tablets the rest of your life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't agree. I don't believe in somebody take a tablet for a couple of weeks to help you, but these tablets for the rest of your life when there's other alternatives, and we'll delve into that too.
Paddy, thanks for being with us. How did they get the bottle, Paddy? Because there could be someone there. So explain that.
Take in the Paddy Dover and Paddy's Powerful Bottle on Facebook and Paddy.Dover on TikTok, and you'll get the gist of it on there.
Fair play to you. Thank you, everyone.